I will try to keep this short and finish before darkness falls. As always, I humbly dedicate my words and thoughts to the immortal memory of Scotland's other greatest son, the late David R. Ross. The big warmer who continues to inspire and feed my insatiable hunger for Scottish history through his books and the recollection of my personal memories of a sadly missed and lamented friend. In what already has been a truly memorable and momentous year for Scotland, the name of William Wallace and the beliefs for which he fought, strived and dedicated his life, eventually to pay the ultimate price at the hands of a tyrannical madman, has never been more poignant or held a more significance than now. The ultimate goal that Wallace, de Murray, Bruce, James Douglas and the countless unknown ordinary men and women of Scotland who cared deeply enough to risk and dedicate their whole lives to achieve by the sweeping arc of the broadsword and claymore can be ours. The most desired status deserving of any nation, and which is a God-given right, is there to grasp, not with the thrust and cut of the battle swords of old, but with the two crossing strokes of the pen. The goal I'm referring to, of course, can be summed up in one word, and it is a simple but very powerful word. It is the most powerful word in any language, and this word is synonymous with Wallace in Scotland. The word is freedom. On a beautiful sunny afternoon, on the 23rd of August 2005 at Smithfield in London, is a plaque on the wall of St Bartholomew's Hospital, which marks the spot where Wallace was murdered. I, and some of you here today, along with Davy Ross and hundreds of patriots of Scotland, honoured Wallace. We raised our heads towards the heavens, and we let Wallace know that he would never be forgotten, and we were there for him that day, by shouting into the clear blue skies of London this one word. Please, patriots, raise your heads to the sky and punch the air as you shout it out with me now together, as a nation and people, united in one voice. And let William Wallace and Davy Ross know that we are here for them today, and it will never be forgotten. With me. Aye. Freedom! Freedom! Yes. How sweet and satisfying does that sound hanging in the still air? Is there any one of us here who doesn't have a lump in their throat as we stand in the shadow of this monument that marks the birthplace and the deeds of our greatest hero, our greatest patriot, our greatest freedom fighter ever, the greatest Scot who ever lived? This very place where the fires of freedom sparked into life when the second son of a Stuart vassal opened his eyes and took his first breath of pure Scottish air, and was henceforth destined to lead his beloved Scotland to victory against the English armies of Edward I at Stirling Bridge. Throughout Scotland's often violent, bloody and colourful history, envious, greedy, vicious, warring nations and empires have thrust their unwanted attentions and ideals upon us. Inevitably, these factions have been led by a collection of self-centred, vindictive, paranoid, nasty, egotistical egomaniacs, hell-bent on bringing our proud and ancient nation onto our knees by brute force and cruelty. That's what they say, too, in a strange, bizarre way, I can always appreciate and understand why these monsters want our Scotland and our people for their own, to rule and command. She is, after all, the finest jewel in any crown, and she is, without doubt, the greatest prize in all Christendom. Had I, by the grace of God, not been fortunate enough to be Scots born, had I been born a devious, greedy foreign ruler, if I had seen through eyes filled with malice and envy this beautifully magnificent land and all she possessed and had to offer, I know I would want to rule her as part of my kingdom as well.